Hello! You are watching the Video Voters Guide, organized by the League of Women Voters of Portland. We are in the studios of Metro East Community Media to talk with candidates running in the November 2020 general election. All candidates who filed for this race were invited to participate in the Video Voters Guide. However, there are many reasons during a campaign why a candidate may be unable to appear. For comprehensive coverage by the League, including information on candidates who might not have been available for a video interview, visit vote411.org. Information is available in both English and Spanish. Candidates may choose to include additional information on Vote 411, such as their own YouTube videos. Watch, share, and be an informed voter.
Hello, this is Debbie Kay with the League of Women Voters of Portland. With me today is Dave Dyke, running for Gresham City Council, Position 5. Welcome, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Let's get started. Tell us a little about yourself, why you're running for office, and what unique characteristics you would bring.
Yeah, no, you bet. So, like I said, my name is Dave Dyke. I'm running for City Council Position 5 here in Gresham. My partner and I moved to Gresham in 2007, and we've lived here ever since I was kind of wrapping up graduate school in public administration. And I started my career in local government. You know, I worked for a time as an auditor, and these days I work for a software company. I really became interested in serving on council through volunteer work. So I've served on the city's finance and budget committee. I volunteered with my local neighborhood association, and I volunteered on the finance committee at a local nonprofit called Human Solutions, which operates emergency shelters and develops housing for everybody in our community. And that service with Human Solutions has really been especially rewarding for me, just because I believe that everybody in our community deserves a safe and stable home.
Well, thank you. Tell me, what would be your top 3 priorities as a member of Gresham City Council?
You bet. So the first priority I would have is around sustainable financial management. So, serving on the city's finance and budget committee has really helped me dig into the city budget, and I've developed an appreciation for the challenges that we face. We have a mayor and a city council who need to kind of step up and lead to deal with sustainability for our financial situation instead of kicking the can down the road. One of the other themes that I am highlighting in my campaign is around parks and recreation. So because of that kind of structural financial problem that I mentioned, we've had to make tough trade-off decisions over the years between police, fire, and parks. And parks has really gotten the short end of the stick too often. Gresham has almost no investment in recreation programs, and we really only do basic maintenance for our city parks. And for a city of over 110,000, I just think that's unacceptable. I'm a member of a group called Our Parks, Our Future Coalition. That's a group that's steering us towards establishing a parks district, which I think would really benefit families and children. And it's an issue that I really care deeply about. And then the final theme of my campaign is really engaging new voices at City Hall. So, ever since the 1980s, Gresham has elected city council members at large. And so the path to serving as mayor or city council has really kind of circled around a group of fairly conservative insiders. And I'd like to have my service really bring about a change that kind of is more welcoming and inclusive to new voices at City Hall.
Thank you. Thinking about the COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting devastation for small business, for city employee layoffs, housing displacement, those will all be issues with us for some time to come. Mm-hmm. How would you seek to address the fallout, including the reduction in city revenue?
Yeah, so, the city council is dealing with the tough trade-offs that they need to make right now. So I'm following that closely. And, the city budget was unsustainable before COVID, although obviously the loss of revenue from the pandemic's really created kind of a real crisis. But the structural challenges we have date back to Measure 50, which was passed in 1997, so 23 years ago. And that was a property tax limitation measure that really it disproportionately impacted Gresham, more so than other cities in Oregon. And ever since then, our finances in the city have really been getting steadily worse. So, for example, in 1990, property taxes from the general fund paid for 100% of our police and fire department. And today, property taxes are completely dedicated to police and fire, but they only cover less than 50% of those services. And so we've been plugging the hole with various fees and revenue from the state, but it's not been sustainable. And so we're going to be facing some really significant cuts to parks and police and fire if we don't take some action. And that's really why I've been highlighting the importance of thinking about special districts and thinking about ways that are creative to kind of deal with our financial situation in a way that's more sustainable.
Thank you. How would you address the public's significant concerns about police, community relations, use of deadly force, and officer accountability?
I would just start by saying, start with my values. I support Black lives, and I think the Black Lives Matter movement has really been an important wake-up call to me as an individual, to our community, and frankly, to our whole country. I think we need some change. Policing is one of those areas where I think we need some change. I actually recently wrote an editorial that the Gresham Outlook published, which kind of lays out my perspective on police reform. I'm proposing what I think is a thoughtful review of our policing practices. I start from the premise that there's no blue line between officers and our community. I think officers have a really difficult job, and we need to set them up for success. And I think that Black Lives Matter, and we need to foster a culture within the police department that really kind of favors a guardian mentality instead of militarization. The specific reform process that I propose for Gresham really revolves around President Obama's foundation. So President Obama created a reform pattern for cities to follow that I'd like us to follow. And it would really establish an independent citizen oversight committee that would look at use of force, complaints, disciplinary record tracking, and protections around racial profiling, and really just focus on the kind of culture of our police department.
Thanks. Our fifth question is, how would you strengthen Gresham's working relationship with surrounding jurisdictions on issues such as transportation, policing, social services, and the economy?
You bet. I think for a city like Gresham, those regional relationships are really important. I'd be committed to kind of working the process. So you'd find me showing up at, Metro's transportation planning sessions, the JPAC committee. You'd find me showing up at the Multnomah County Joint Office of Homeless Services. All of these regional meetings where we collaborate and coordinate our activities are really important for Gresham to be at the table. I'd call out that I've built really good working relationships with some of our neighboring cities. So for example, Mayor Scott Harden from Wood Village and Wendy Lawton from Fairview have both endorsed me, and I've built good relationships across the cities. I've also been endorsed by Senator Lori Monis Anderson and Representatives Peluso, Gorsuch, and Bynum. And I think those relationships with the state legislature are really important for Gresham to foster and just have good working relationships. And then the last thing I would end with there in terms of regional collaboration is the business community. I think it's important for our business community to be working together. I'm a member of a group called the East Metro Economic Alliance, or EME, and that's a group that does exactly that. It just tries to organize all of the business interests in East County so that we can really compete and be effective kind of across the cities that make up East County.
Great. We have about a minute left. What else would you like to discuss?
Well, I just appreciate the forum here. I think when we think about who's going to serve Gresham in the next 4 years, it's going to be important for us to select leaders who are prepared. I've been, through that volunteer service, I've really been working hard to get prepared, and then also people who share values of the community. I think the demographics of Gresham have been changing over the years, and I believe that my values are really in line with where the electorate's at, and I'd appreciate everybody's vote in November.
Thank you very much. That's wraps the conversation for today. Thank you, Dave, for joining us.
Thank you.
This has been the Video Voters Guide. Thank you for watching. The general election is Tuesday, November 3rd. The last day to register is October 13th. Remember to mail your ballot a week ahead or visit a ballot drop location. Be sure to inform yourself about the candidates and ballot measures and exercise your right to vote.